In the heart of North Carolina, nestled among lush greenery and vibrant communities, lived a man named Michael Smith. A local musician with dreams as vast as the Carolina sky, he had spent years trying to make it big in the music industry. But unlike many artists who pour their soul into crafting authentic tunes, Michael embarked on a journey that would ultimately lead him down a path of deception, greed, and betrayal. This is the story of how this seemingly ordinary man became embroiled in one of the most audacious frauds ever seen in the digital age, a tale that has left streaming giants reeling and audiences questioning the integrity of modern music. Michael's rise from struggling artist to alleged multimillionaire was swift but deceptive. By harnessing cutting-edge technology, artificial intelligence, he managed to produce an unprecedented number of songs that flooded major streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. These weren't just any tracks. They were meticulously crafted using algorithms designed to mimic human creativity while bypassing traditional copyright laws. Each piece was unique enough to pass muster with automated systems, but repetitive enough to keep listeners hooked without offering anything genuinely new or original. As these fabricated compositions began accumulating listens at alarming rates due to strategically deployed bot networks, royalty payments started pouring into Michael's accounts. What started out as modest earnings quickly escalated into tens of millions of dollars over several years. It wasn't long before suspicions arose about irregularities within these streams, prompting investigations by both corporate entities and law enforcement agencies worldwide. Yet even amidst growing scrutiny, Michael continued his operation undeterred until finally being apprehended after nearly half a decade of unchecked activity. This case serves as a stark reminder of how easily advanced technologies can be misused when coupled with criminal intent. As we delve deeper into this gripping saga involving complex technological manipulations and legal battles ahead, prepare yourself for revelations that challenge everything you thought you knew about digital content creation and distribution. Stay tuned, because what happened next will shock everyone involved. Michael Smith's journey into the world of fraudulent music began innocently enough. A struggling musician with dreams larger than his resources, he found himself stuck in a cycle of rejection and financial hardship. The allure of fame and fortune was intoxicating, yet the traditional route through which artists typically achieve success seemed impossibly steep. Frustrated by the lack of opportunities and driven by ambition, Michael stumbled upon a solution that promised both recognition and wealth: artificial intelligence. AI offered Michael an unprecedented opportunity to bypass the grueling process of creating original music manually. With just a few lines of code and some basic training data, he could generate thousands of songs overnight. Each track was meticulously crafted to sound distinctively different from the last, ensuring they wouldn't raise eyebrows during routine checks by streaming platform algorithms. These songs weren't merely placeholders. They were designed to captivate listeners with catchy melodies and relatable themes, making them ideal candidates for repeated plays across various devices. As Michael delved deeper into this uncharted territory, he realized that simply producing music wasn't sufficient if no one heard it. Enter bots, automated software programs capable of simulating real user behavior online. Deploying armies of these digital proxies allowed him to inflate play counts artificially, tricking both platforms and unsuspecting audiences alike into believing these tracks were legitimate releases worthy of attention and compensation. Thus began the construction of what would later be known as the AI music empire, built entirely on deception and exploitation of emerging technologies. With every passing day, more songs flowed into his repertoire thanks to relentless iterations powered by machine learning models fine-tuned specifically for this purpose. Meanwhile, corresponding increases in streaming numbers ensured steady inflows of revenue flowing directly into Michael's bank account under false pretenses. Little did anyone know at first glance that behind each click lay nothing more than cleverly engineered facsimiles masquerading as genuine creative works. And so, unbeknownst even to himself initially, Michael embarked upon a career trajectory fraught with moral ambiguity and potential consequences far beyond anything imaginable back then. At the heart of Michael Smith's elaborate scheme lay two powerful tools: artificial intelligence and bot networks. These technologies worked in tandem to create a seamless web of deceit that fooled both streaming platforms and unsuspecting listeners alike. The AI component was responsible for generating thousands of unique yet formulaic songs, each tailored to mimic human creativity while avoiding detection by automated filters. Using sophisticated algorithms, The system analyzed existing popular tracks to identify common patterns and structures, then applied these insights to craft new compositions that sounded fresh but were actually derivative. Meanwhile, the bot networks played a crucial role in inflating the perceived popularity of these fabricated tracks. Deployed across multiple devices and accounts, these automated programs simulated real user interactions by initiating streams, liking posts, sharing links, and commenting on social media platforms associated with the music. This orchestrated activity created an illusion of organic growth, convincing streaming services and advertisers alike that these tracks were genuine hits worthy of investment. Over time, this combination of AI-generated content and bot-driven engagement resulted in staggering numbers, millions of streams per month that translated into substantial royalty payments for Michael. The sophistication of this operation extended beyond mere quantity. It also involved careful timing and geographic distribution. Songs were released strategically across different regions to maximize exposure while maintaining plausible deniability regarding their origin. Additionally, metadata attached to each file was meticulously crafted to align with current trends and preferences, enhancing credibility further. Through relentless iteration and refinement, Michael managed to sustain his facade for nearly 5 years before cracks began appearing in his carefully constructed edifice. Michael Smith's audacious scheme didn't just stay confined within the borders of North Carolina or even the United States. His AI-generated music infiltrated global streaming platforms, reaching listeners across continents and earning him an estimated $10 million in royalties. This astronomical figure wasn't merely a result of sheer volume, but also due to strategic placement and timing of releases. By analyzing market trends and listener preferences, Michael ensured that his fabricated tracks resonated with diverse audiences, from pop enthusiasts in Europe to hip-hop aficionados in Asia. The impact of this digital gold rush reverberated throughout the music industry. Streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, which had previously championed innovation and democratization of music access, found themselves grappling with questions about authenticity and fairness. How could they ensure that artists receive fair compensation when faced with such sophisticated fraud? The implications extended beyond monetary losses. There was also concern over how this affected legitimate artists striving to gain traction in a crowded marketplace. Furthermore, advertisers who relied on accurate audience metrics were misled by inflated numbers generated by Michael's bots, leading to misplaced investments and wasted resources. As news of the scam spread, it sparked debates about the future of digital content creation and distribution. Should platforms rely solely on automated systems to verify originality? Or do we need more robust human oversight? These discussions highlighted vulnerabilities inherent in our increasingly digitized world where trust often hinges on unseen processes. While some call for stricter regulations and enhanced security measures, others argue for greater transparency between creators and consumers. Amidst all these deliberations stood Michael Smith, a man whose actions challenged fundamental principles underlying modern music consumption and payment structures. The cracks in Michael Smith's elaborate scheme began to show when a curious anomaly surfaced on Spotify's analytics dashboard. An unusually high spike in streams from a single IP address, coupled with identical metadata patterns across multiple songs, piqued the interest of the platform's data analysts. This initial observation triggered a cascade of internal reviews that eventually led to the discovery of thousands of suspicious accounts linked to the same network. The complexity and scale of these operations were unprecedented, suggesting something far more sinister than mere glitches or accidental errors. Spotify immediately reported their findings to relevant authorities, setting off a chain reaction across international borders. Law enforcement agencies from several countries collaborated to trace the origins of these fraudulent activities, employing advanced forensic techniques to uncover hidden connections between various accounts and servers. Their investigation revealed not only the extent of Michael's involvement, but also how deeply entrenched he had become within the digital ecosystem. Each step forward uncovered new layers of deception, revealing intricate webs about networks and AI-driven content generation that span continents. As evidence mounted against him, Michael found himself cornered by an expanding coalition of investigators determined to bring him to justice. The stakes grew higher with each revelation, as this case threatened to expose systemic weaknesses in how digital content is authenticated and monetized globally. Media outlets picked up on the story, turning what started as an isolated incident into a high-profile scandal that captured public imagination worldwide. Public opinion swayed between shock at the audacity of the act and admiration for those fighting tirelessly to uphold integrity in cyberspace. Yet despite mounting pressure, Michael remained elusive, his next move shrouded in mystery, awaiting its unveiling in Part 2. As the dust settled following the expose of Michael Smith's fraudulent activities, questions arose about whether he was a criminal mastermind or merely a victim of circumstances. On one hand, his ability to orchestrate such a large-scale deception using advanced technology suggests an individual with exceptional technical skills and cunning business acumen. The sophistication of his methods indicates someone who understood the inner workings of streaming platforms and exploited them for personal gain. Moreover, his sustained effort over nearly 5 years demonstrates persistence and dedication to his cause, traits often associated with successful entrepreneurs rather than opportunistic criminals. On the other hand, detractors argue that Michael's actions stemmed less from ingenuity and more from desperation. As a struggling musician facing rejection and financial hardship, he may have sought an alternative route to success that ultimately spiraled out of control. Some speculate that initial experiments with AI-generated music evolved into full-blown fraud as pressures mounted, leading him deeper into illegal territory. Others point to societal factors such as rising costs in the music industry and diminishing return for artists as potential catalysts, driving him toward unethical practices. Regardless of perspective, Michael's story raises important ethical considerations regarding creativity and compensation in today's digital landscape. Was he exploiting flaws in the system or creating new possibilities for artistic expression? Did his actions represent a failure of regulatory frameworks or simply bad judgment on his part? These questions linger unresolved, adding layers of complexity to an already intriguing narrative. Whether viewed as visionary or villainous, Michael remains a pivotal figure in discussions about innovation versus exploitation, in modern times a cautionary tale for aspiring creators navigating uncertain waters ahead. The hunt for Michael Smith intensified as investigators followed every lead, no matter how obscure. One morning, a breakthrough came when they decrypted the mysterious files found on his computer. Inside were detailed maps of remote locations, timestamps corresponding to key moments in his operation, and cryptic notes that read like a puzzle. Among these notes was a single word, *Echo star. Investigators quickly realized that *Echo* might refer to something or someone critical to understanding Michael's scheme. They combed through old interviews, public records, and even social media profiles for anyone associated with the name. A breakthrough came when they identified a small-time tech entrepreneur named Ethan Lee, who had once worked briefly with Michael years ago. Ethan had vanished shortly after their collaboration ended, leaving behind only vague mentions of a big project he couldn't talk about. Ethan's last known location was a small cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, far from civilization. Surveillance teams were dispatched immediately, but when they arrived, the cabin was abandoned. However, inside, they found traces of recent habitation, half-empty food containers, muddy boot prints, and a laptop containing fragments of code that appeared to be part of Michael's AI system. Embedded within the code was a message written in binary: "If you're reading this, I'm already gone." But the real shock came when investigators traced the origin of the laptop. It had been purchased under a pseudonym linked to none other than Ethan Lee. This discovery raised chilling questions. Had Ethan been Michael's accomplice all along? Or had he been coerced into helping? And where was he now? Back in North Carolina, whispers of a second player in the story began circulating. Journalists dug deeper and uncovered reports of a shadowy organization known only as the Syndicate, rumored to operate globally and specialize in cybercrime. Sources close to the investigation hinted that the Syndicate had been monitoring Michael's progress closely, possibly even providing him with tools and resources to execute his plan. But why would such a powerful group risk exposure by backing someone like Michael? The focus shifted again when investigators discovered a series of encrypted emails exchanged between Michael and an unknown contact. The emails mentioned a meeting place, a desolate island off the coast of South America. The island was reportedly uninhabited except for a research facility owned by a pharmaceutical company rumored to conduct secretive experiments. Investigators speculated that Michael might have used the facility as a base for storing data or conducting operations away from prying eyes. Amidst the chaos, a breakthrough came from an unexpected source, a whistleblower within Spotify. The whistleblower, who wished to remain anonymous, claimed to have witnessed something shocking. According to them, Michael had been in regular contact with someone high up in the company, someone who had access to confidential data about user preferences and trends. This insider, they said, had been feeding Michael information about which types of songs would perform best on the platform. The whistleblower described the insider as a woman, mid-30s, with short dark hair. She worked in the marketing department and had been promoted rapidly over the past few years. Her name? Emily Carter. Emily Carter's connection to Michael was undeniable. Investigators found records showing she had visited North Carolina several times around the same period Michael was building his empire. But when they tried to locate her, she had disappeared without a trace. Her apartment was empty, her phone disconnected, and her social media accounts inactive. As investigators pieced together the puzzle, they realized they were dealing with a far more complex conspiracy than they had initially imagined. Michael wasn't acting alone. He was part of a much larger network involving insiders, hackers, and perhaps even international criminals. The question now was, what was the endgame? Why had Michael gone to such lengths to build this empire? And then came the final twist. In a storage unit rented under one of Michael's aliases, investigators found a USB drive labeled simply, "For You." Inside was a video file titled Truth Revealed. When they played it, they saw Michael sitting in a dimly lit room, his face partially obscured by shadows. He spoke calmly but deliberately. "If you're watching this, then I'm already gone. But before I go, there's something you need to know. This isn't just about money. This is about power. Power to control what people listen to, what they think, and ultimately, how they feel." The screen cut to black, leaving investigators stunned. Who was he referring to? What kind of power did he possess? And why had he made this recording? Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting true crime story. The coordinates led investigators to a barren stretch of desert in Arizona, where the sun blazed mercilessly and the horizon stretched endlessly. The terrain was harsh, offering little shelter from the elements, but the team pressed on, driven by the urgency of the situation. At the designated spot, they found an abandoned shipping container, rusted and weather-beaten, but unmistakably man-made. Inside, the container held a single, pristine laptop. Its screen flickered to life as soon as they opened it, displaying a live feed of a video call. On the screen was a figure cloaked in shadows, their voice distorted by a digital filter. "Welcome," the figure said, their tone dripping with menace. "You've come a long way to find me." The investigators demanded answers, but the figure only laughed. "Why should I tell you anything? You're too late. The damage is done." "What damage?" one investigator shouted, frustration boiling over. "What are you talking about?" The figure leaned closer, their face now partially visible. It was Emily Carter, the whistleblower who had vanished without a trace. Her expression was cold, almost mechanical. "I planted seeds," she said, her voice calm but chilling. "Seeds that will grow into something far bigger than you can imagine. Seeds of control, influence, and manipulation. And now, they're sprouting." The camera panned out, revealing a wall covered in sticky notes. Each note bore the name of a major music streaming service, along with dates and numbers. Beneath the names were codes and symbols, seemingly meaningless but clearly significant to whoever had created them. "This," Emily said, gesturing to the wall, "is just the beginning. You don't understand the scope of what's happening. The Syndicate isn't just about stealing money. It's about shaping culture, controlling minds." Suddenly, the feed cut out, leaving the investigators staring at a blank screen. Outside, the desert was eerily silent, save for the distant hum of cicadas. They packed up the laptop and returned to headquarters, determined to decipher the cryptic notes and uncover the truth. Back at the office, the team worked around the clock to analyze the sticky notes. Slowly, patterns began to emerge. The dates corresponded to major events in the music industry, and the numbers matched spikes in streaming activity. It was clear that Emily had orchestrated a series of coordinated attacks on multiple platforms, flooding them with AI-generated content to skew listener preferences and manipulate trends. But the most disturbing discovery came when they cross-referenced the sticky notes with public records. Each note was tied to a specific individual, a musician, a producer, or a label executive. These individuals had all been targeted by Emily and her associates, either through intimidation or bribery. Some had been forced to promote fake songs, while others had unwittingly become unwitting participants in the scheme. The investigators pieced together a timeline of Emily's movements over the past year. She had traveled extensively, visiting major cities and meeting with key players in the music industry. Her movements coincided with the rise of certain artists who had inexplicably skyrocketed to fame overnight. It was becoming clear that Emily wasn't just a rogue employee, she was a linchpin of a much larger conspiracy. One night, as the team reviewed the evidence, a breakthrough came. They noticed a recurring symbol in the sticky notes, a triangle with a circle inside it. The symbol was faintly visible on a promotional poster for one of the artists who had benefited from the scheme. A quick search revealed that the symbol belonged to a secret society known as the Order of Echo Star. The Order was rumored to be a global organization dedicated to influencing public opinion through art and media. Their members included influential figures in politics, entertainment, and business. If Emily was connected to them, it meant the conspiracy ran far deeper than anyone had imagined. The team decided to investigate the Order's activities further, starting with their headquarters in Geneva. But when they arrived, they found the building deserted. All signs of activity had vanished, leaving behind only empty offices and cryptic messages scrawled on walls in red spray paint. Asterisk, asterisk, they are coming for us. As the team descended upon the remote observatory in Chile, their hearts pounding with anticipation. The journal entries had hinted at something extraordinary, something that transcended the boundaries of human understanding. As they sifted through the debris, they found a hidden compartment beneath the floorboards. Inside was a battered briefcase containing documents and recordings that would change everything. The documents were classified files from a top-secret government program code-named Project Lumina Star. The program aimed to study anomalous celestial phenomena, particularly those occurring near Earth's atmosphere. The recordings were audio logs from the astronomers involved in the project. In one log, a voice trembled with fear as it described seeing something unnatural in the sky, a shapeless entity that moved with impossible speed and precision. The team pieced together the evidence, connecting the dots between Project Lumina, the Order of Echo, and the AI music fraud. It became clear that the conspiracy was far more sinister than anyone had imagined. The Order had been using the AI-generated music to subtly influence human emotions and behaviors, preparing the groundwork for something far greater. The final revelation came when they decoded a series of encrypted messages embedded within the AI-generated songs. The messages were not random. They formed a pattern that aligned with the coordinates of the celestial phenomena recorded by the astronomers. The symbols in the sticky notes, the triangle with a circle inside, were a key to understanding the messages. The team discovered that the phenomena were not natural. They were signals sent from an extraterrestrial source. The signals were designed to resonate with human consciousness, amplifying certain emotions and weakening others. The AI music had been used as a conduit to deliver these signals, subtly manipulating populations around the globe. Michael Smith and Emily Carter had been unwitting pawns in this larger game. They had been recruited by members of the Order, who had manipulated their ambitions and fears to carry out the scheme. The true mastermind behind the operation were the leaders of the Order, who had been communicating with the extraterrestrial source through the signals. The team contacted international authorities, sharing their findings. Governments worldwide mobilized, launching investigations into the Order and the extraterrestrial signals. The AI-generated music fraud was exposed, and those responsible were brought to justice. However, the team knew that the battle was far from over. The extraterrestrial signal persisted, and their ultimate purpose remained unclear. The team vowed to continue their research, determined to uncover the truth and protect humanity from whatever lay beyond the stars. In the end, the world learned that the line between fiction and reality is often blurred, and the truth is always stranger than fiction. The AI music fraud was just the beginning, a warning of the dangers lurking in the shadows of our rapidly evolving digital world. And though the immediate threat was neutralized, the team knew that the cosmic forces at play would demand vigilance and courage in the years to come. Years later, the team gathered at the observatory, gazing at the night sky. The stars twinkled above, serene and eternal. They had uncovered the truth, but the universe still held countless mysteries. As they stood there, united in their quest for knowledge, they knew that the fight to safeguard humanity's future would never truly end. And so, The stars watched over them, silent witnesses to the endless dance between science and the unknown. For more interesting true crime story, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click the notification icon so you can get our videos firsthand we post.